Okay, so in today's session, we are going to learn about some of the advanced Swift concepts which are really important in actual applications. So and actual projects, production projects. So let's get started. I'll create a project. Let's say Swift, advanced Swift, learning advanced Swifts, learning advanced Swift. Okay, let's save it in our desktop. Okay, fine. You can see my screen, right?
Yes, Abhishek, yes.
Okay, fine. So
Yes.
fine, if there is not much noise, you can unmute. Okay, so we will see a couple of things and you can unmute. Okay, we'll discuss. So the first thing is, let's say I will ask you to write a function, okay, which will add two numbers. So how can I do? I'll say func add numbers, and then I can say num1 int and then num2 int. Is it correct?
Yes, sir.
Add numbers, number 1 into number 2.
Fine, and then I can just return number 1 plus number 2. Okay, now tell me one thing. Now what if I ask you that instead of two numbers I want to add five numbers? How will you do? First maybe Babu can tell.
Which one?
So now I am adding two numbers, right? Num1 and num2.
Okay.
What if I tell you that I want five numbers? Number 1, number 2, num3, num4, num5. And then I want to print all the some addition of all five numbers. How will you do it?
We can, number 1 dots we can use, and then number 5. Till.
Okay, you mean this one?
Yeah.
Okay, but this is
yes.
okay, but this is a range operator. Okay, so in this case, that is used to define a range. But in this case, this is not a range. Let's say I can ask you to print three names.
Then initially we can take number 1 and another variable we can create. We can n plus. We can increment till that number.
Okay, but that is okay. So in that case, maybe it will work because it is num1 and num2. What if I say that you greet, okay, name one, maybe first name, which is a string, and then I say second name, which is a string. Print first name plus second name. In this case, then what if I ask you that you want to greet five names, first name, second name, third name, fourth name? Then how it will work? It is a problem, right? It is a very big issue that if I'm asking you to do for one or two parameters, it is okay, you can add. But what if tomorrow I say that no, I need five parameters? Then how will you do? There is no way. So either you can create an array,
Yes.
and then take an array instead, but that also is not very good because that uses array unnecessarily. So in these kind of cases, there is something called variadic parameters. Do you know about variadic parameters?
No, Abhishek.
Yeah, so this is a bit advanced concept. What happens is, for example, let's say about print. Okay, let's say about print. Do you see in the print there is items and then a triple dot?
Yes.
So this basically means that I can print as many items I want. I can print one item also, and I can print two items also. Correct? So print works for any n number of parameters. So if I want to write a function which works for n number of parameters, we use variadic parameters. So now let's see. So now let's convert this function as a variadic parameter function. So what we will do, instead of writing like this, we will say func add all numbers uh, default implementation variadic implementation. Rahul, you understood what problem we are trying to solve here?
That one we have to take multiple parameters at a time.
Correct. Any number of parameters. Okay. So let's say add all numbers, and then here I will say numbers, and I will say int, and then I'll say triple dot. Okay. This is a variadic parameter. So this means that I will be able to add. So this numbers can be 1, can be 2, or can be any. So let's say I'll say var sum equal to 0. Now, Babu, can you tell me how can I iterate over an array? So let's say there is an array called numbers. How can I iterate?
Add all numbers in all order, for example.
Yeah, but how can I iterate? So for example, there is an
Okay.
how
For loop.
exactly. So
Yes,
instead of for
some
loop, is there any alternative?
Yes.
What is the how can I iterate?
Numbers in all, add all numbers.
Okay.
1 to how many numbers we need, we can iterate that much. For example, 1 to 5 we need. So numbers in add all numbers 1 to 5.
Okay, Rahul, do you want to suggest which how can I iterate over numbers?
Through for loop, sir.
For loop or for in loop?
For in.
For in. So I'll say for item in numbers.
Item in numbers.
Correct. And then tell me what I should do here. I want a sum. I want a sum of all the numbers. If I enter 10 and 5, it should return 15. If I return 10 plus 5 plus 5, it should return again 15. So I want any number, all the numbers, I want a sum. So I've created a variable called sum, and I've assigned it as 0 as a default value. Okay. And then I'm adding a for loop.
Sum equals to.
Okay.
Sum equals to sum plus item.
Okay. Babu, is it correct?
Sum plus item. Yes.
Okay. Very good. It is correct. But is there a better way of doing it? Babu, can you suggest same line of code? Can we make it better? This same line of code, sum equal to sum plus item. Can we make it better?
Yes, we can make like.
So let's remove this.
Yeah.
Let's remove this. This is it. Correct?
Plus equals to yes.
Plus equal to. So whatever Rahul,
Yes,
whatever
yes.
statement you gave earlier, and this is exactly the same thing. Okay, we can just use plus equal to in this case. Whenever you want to say sum equal to sum plus anything, just say sum plus equal to item. Okay?
Okay.
Fine. Then let's just return my sum, and then add a return type here. Int. Fine. Understood variadic parameters. Any questions here? in this implementation, then we will add and check. Okay, let's first add and then we'll check. Let's say 10, and then let's say 15, and then let's say 25. Rahul, what is the output? 10 plus 15 plus 25 is how much?
50, sir.
50, yeah?
Yes.
Cool. Let's see. Okay, very good. Now tell me, is this concept clear, or do you want me to explain this again? Rahul Babu?
Hello.
Yeah, Rahul.
No, sir.
Yeah, Babu. Any questions we have here, or is this is clear?
It's clear, but Variadic implementation, but line of code we are implementing same like how we are iterating, right? Just we are using int dots.
Correct. I agree.
Sir, if we are not using the dot also, we can able to add all these numbers, right?
So if we don't add these triple dots,
Then also we can add all those numbers.
okay, how? Let's tell me an alternative. What should I say? Should I say func? Add numbers? Okay, tell me how.
No, in that same function only, without adding that three dots also, variadic parameter also, it will work. I think.
Yeah, that's what.
If
So
I feel the
yeah, that's what. So instead, so you are saying that we don't need triple dot, right? Okay.
then also it will work. I feel then also it will work.
Yeah. So tell me how. What is the alternative? So let's do this without triple dots. Okay. How? What should I do? Tell me.
Okay. Add two numbers.
Not two, no. Not two, right? This is the problem, right? You are writing a function to add two numbers, and I am writing a function to add any number of numbers. 2, 10, 20,
Add
50.
numbers. Okay. Okay. Function add numbers.
Okay. Then what is the parameter name?
Name also give number.
Okay, numbers. Then
NUM. It's a int.
int.
That's
Okay, fine. Then return type is
Return type also int.
okay, fine. And then what I should do inside?
Should do same like thing where total equals to 0.
Where total equal to 0. Then
Then same like that, sir. Okay, now what happened in the last paradigm
This one?
implementation? That one.
this one will not work, right? Because number is an integer, and this numbers. Okay, I'll show you. Let's say total.
Total. Yeah.
Okay, and then return total. Is this what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. What is the issue? So whenever you are saying for item in numbers, this is a collection of data, right? Whenever you are iterating through anything, this needs to be a collection of data.
Okay.
Correct. So this is just an integer. So what is the point of looping? So you cannot loop because it is just an integer. All you can do is you can say total plus equal to number. This is what you can say. But this will only add one number. Got it?
Yes, sir. This one I am telling to you. Actually, this one also worked, right?
This one.
Yeah.
So in this case, what can we do? Let's say print, add numbers. And then we can just add one number, right? I can say 50. So what will happen? It will add 50 to 0 and then return will be 50. I want to add multiple numbers, right?
Okay.
Make sense? Got it?
Yes.
Babu?
Yeah, sir. Fine.
Babu?
Yes, Abhishek.
Got it?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So this is why this will not.
Can add but multiple numbers also this case.
Correct. So this will work with any number of parameters. Okay. Okay, fine. Next we have generics. So okay, again, let's talk about a problem. Concept generics. Now let's say again, let's say I will say add two numbers. Okay, and let's say I will say num1 colon int, and then I can say num1. Okay, leave it. I will not tell. You tell. Babu, I want to write a function which will add two double values. How can I do it? Can you tell?
Double.
Yeah.
Double.
Yeah, it will
So
accept.
we can convert.
Yeah, no. So this function will accept two parameters. Okay, and then it will return me the sum, and the data type will be double for everything.
Then
Tell me the function.
Yeah.
Tell me how do I write? Add func.
Yeah, func. Add two numbers.
Okay, add.
Number 1, number 2.
Okay, two numbers. Number 1 data type is
Double.
Data type is double.
double. Num2 double. Okay, return
Return type also double.
Double.
And then return num1 num2. Correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now I will say. So this function. Okay. Now let's run this. Print. Add two numbers. 10.0, 10.5, and then 5.5. Okay, let's run. Okay, this is working fine. It's 16.
Yeah.
But now I will say, can you write another function which accepts integers, which adds two integers? How will you do?
It will accept it, sir. Double will accept that integer also.
But it will consider it as double only, right? So let's say I can say
Okay. The return type will come in that double. Okay.
double only, right? So I don't want double. I want integer. I want to add now. So you have given me a function which accepts two double and return double. Now I want a function which accepts two integer and return an integer. How will I do?
Change the data type.
Okay.
Then it
Okay.
will work.
Change this data
Okay.
type.
That is the thinking, sir. Okay.
Okay. But now I say I want both. The int also and double also. I want one function for int, one function for double.
Okay.
I want this function to work for integers also and double also. So are you going to write two functions now? Add two int numbers, add two double numbers. Are you going to do something like this? Correct? This will work?
But it gives two results.
Correct.
How to pause.
There will be two functions. Correct. There will be unnecessarily two functions. One for integer, one for double, and both are doing the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Correct. So this is not good, right? This is not good. By default, this is how we write the code. But this is not good. In production, we don't write code like this. In production, if someone will ask you to do this in actual project, what you will do, you will use generics. Okay. So instead of doing like this, what we will do, we will say func add numbers. Okay, and then I will define something called t, which is a type. So I will say like this, t which is of type. After colon we give a type. So instead of int and double, I will say numeric. Okay, and then here I will accept my parameters num1, and then which is of type. What I should give type here? Tell me.
It may be int or double.
Correct. So in this case, I can give t. Okay, num2
Okay.
t. Return type, tell me. Return type
T.
t. Okay, and what is t? Here we have defined t. T is numeric. And then here I can say print, okay, return num1 plus num2. Num1 plus num2. Okay, what does it mean? This means that add two double numbers. Okay, okay, this is not required. Add, and yeah. Okay, so what are we doing here? We are defining a new data. Defining a custom data type, which is t. Okay, and we are saying that t is numeric. So numeric will work with both integers and doubles. Okay, it basically it means that it is a number. Okay, and then I'm saying that my num1, num2, all of these and return type, everything is t. So now this function you with generics will work with both integer and double. Let's see. Let's give it a try. Print add numbers. Let's add two integers 5 and 10, and then let's add two double 5.5 and 10.25. Let's see if this works. Okay, let's run. Perfect, it is working. So now you tell me, this is a better solution, right? Having just one function which works for both integers and doubles.
Yeah, this one fine, but this numeric is not. This is not a data type. It is what?
It is basically okay. So what it says basically is we are saying that we are defining something called a t. Okay, t is nothing. T is just a variable name, and we are saying that t, the type of t is numeric. Okay, so when I'm saying numeric, I mean that anything that can be added is a numeric. Okay, now this one, this is basically a protocol, and we will see protocol today after generic, so you will understand it better. But what basically we are saying is that anything that can be added is a protocol, is a numeric protocol. And don't worry about this protocol thing. We will learn about protocol in today's session only after generics.
Okay.
Okay, so basically what we are saying is we are saying t.
This numeric will accept both. I think positive and negative numbers also, right?
Yes, because negative numbers are also nothing but numbers.
Number. Yes.
Okay, so this is why the use of generics is very important, and it is not that for generics only this numeric thing will work. For anything will work. So basically whenever you want something to work for any data type, you will use generics. So what is more important here is not numeric. What is important here is t.
I didn't get the difference between the generics and numeric.
Generics and numeric. Okay, so see, I wanted, so I'll tell you I told a use case. Okay, in a use case where there is and this is a very common use case. Okay, in most of the projects you will need this. You will need to write a function that accepts any either integer or double. Okay, so there is something called a numeric protocol. Okay, and then any data, and then I am not defining a data type. See, this is a protocol. There is no data type. I'm not defining any data type here. I'm just saying t. So what t will do? This means that there is a data type. There is a data type defining data type which is conforming to a protocol. So again, I'm not going to protocol because we will see protocol later. So don't worry about this protocol now. What I'm saying is instead of saying that I num1 is an int and num2 is an int, I am saying it is t. So basically t means something called a type. So I am saying that add any numbers, whatever of any type.
Okay.
Okay, and protocols we will see later. So don't worry about this protocol numeric. Fine?
Yes, sir. Fine.
Perfect. Next we have something called default parameters. Default parameters. Yeah. Okay. So now let's say I will say let's say let me think of a use case. Okay, let's say that you are going to buy something, okay, buy an item, or you are going to a store and buying an item. Now in this case there is you will always ask for discounts. You will say that okay, please give me some discounts on this particular item. So let's say it is of 100 rupees, and let's say you are a shopkeeper and everyone is coming to you and saying that please give discount, please discount. So what you will say, that what you will do is you will add a default discount. You will say that anyone who comes on MRP of 100 rupees, you will give a discount of 10%. Okay, so that is a default. Lot of times what happens is you have to add functionalities with default value. So for example, this one. Okay, so for example, func, and then calculate total price. Okay, and then this one will have, so what will be the total price? So for example, this one will be the item price, and this will be, let's say, int, or let's say double, and then a discount, and then let's say again, okay, double. Fine. And item price minus discount will be your total price. So this will return final price, which is again double. So I can say return item price minus discount. Is this function clear what I'm trying to do here? I am just writing a function, calculate total price, and which accepts two parameters, item price and discount, and then what, let's say 100 rupees is the actual price and 10 rupees is the discount. So what is my final price? 100 minus 10, which is 90. Fine?
Yes, sir. Okay.
Okay. Babu, fine, right?
Yes, Abhishek. Yes.
Okay. Now what happens is I want to give a default. So for example, by default, let's say 20 customers are coming. Okay. And then out of those 20 customers, for 19 of them, I will not negotiate. I will give a default discount of 10%. But for some of the exceptional customers, let's say there is a regular customer who is coming, only for those cases, I will give 15% discount. Okay. So in the maximum cases, I want to give 10%. So what happens is, for example, one person comes, I will call this function, I will pass 10. Again for second, I will pass 10. Again for third, I will pass 10. Only for special cases, I will pass 15. So in this case, why do we need to pass this 10 every time? So let's call this. Okay. So calculate price. Item will be 100, discount will be 10. Okay. So for, let's say for first, okay, let's print. Okay, so let's say this is for the first customer. Now let's say this is for the second customer. Let's say this is again a customer 2, and then again let's say this one is 150 rupees, and then again by default it is only 10. So in these kind of cases where the same kind of value you want to have in most of the cases, and only for the special cases you want to handle, we can add a default value to the parameters. So I can say double, I can say equal to, and I can say 10. I don't think till now you have written a function like this. So this means that now if I have to give a default discount of 10, I don't have to pass this. So let's see now. Print calculate total price. See, now I'm getting two variations of my function, one with discount and one without discount. If I have to give only 10, I can just use this one, 100. And so now I don't need to again pass 10 discounts every time. And then I can also have print calculate and see I have 2. So if I have to give any more discounts, then I will use. So for example, again item price is 150. So okay, this is fine. All of these will be taken as 10 only. And then if I have to give a special discount, there I will say 200 may I will give, let's say 15%. So in this case I can use this. So for the same function I have two variations. What happened? I think one more bracket. So for the same function I have two variations. One is with some discount and one is without discount. So we can add a default value to a parameter. Is this understood? Is this clear?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so this is very easy. The only thing is you need to now think whenever you are going to write the code, okay, in production, in actual project, you need to think that how can I write my code in a better way? And all of these things you should use to write code in a better way. By default, what you will do, you will not use any of the default parameter values. And by default, Babu, you also might have seen in your code, a lot of times people are you passing the same kind of arguments.
Yes.
Right. So if there is a function which a lot of times the same parameter value is being passed, add a default value. Okay. Fine. So we have default parameters also covered. Next, I have already covered closures for both of you, but I thought because closures is very important, I thought let's have a revision of closures. Is it fine? Or do you want me to cover, or should we skip?
Cover it, sir.
Cover it, no? Fine. So this is very important again. So let's see. For closures, we don't need type alias, but let's define a type alias also. Rahul, what is a type alias?
Instead of that data, type, we have to give that declare with that different name, and that is called type alias.
Correct. So in this case, I can say, I can define any type alias. I can say this, and let's say I can give any parameter value, and then I can say this. So this is my completion type. Okay, now which is just a name, a type alias. Then now let's create a function which accepts a closure. Okay, so normally how can I normally write a function? So I can say func greet, and then I can say name string, and then I can just return string here, and I can say return hello name. One thing also which you have to see here is, if I just have one line of code, I don't need to write return. Okay, for any function where there is just one line of code, and if I'm returning, I don't need to write the keyword return from Swift 5 onwards. This is also one of the questions that people might ask in an interview. Okay, so this is from Swift 5 onwards, no need to put a return statement. Okay, so this one will work. But what is the closure way of doing it? In closure way, we will write a function greet, and then I will say completion. First, let's accept a name string, and then completion, which is of type completion. What is okay, let's completion type, just to avoid confusion, it is of type completion. Okay, and then here instead of returning, what I will say, I will call my completion, and I will pass my any So let's do one thing. Let's write the same function hello name. So this is without closure, and this is with closure. Without closures, with closures. So I think that you have seen closures implementation only in the case of network manager, but a lot of times usually also we'll use closures. Okay, just to have a better code in some use cases. So in this case we have greet, and then we have this. So let's call this and let's see. This is a return type. Okay, fine. So print greet. I have again two variants. One is with completion, one is without completion. I'll say greet, I'll say name, I'll say, let's say iOS, and then again let's say another one, print. Okay, so then this will not be great with completion. Here I will pass iOS, and here I will get my greeting message. So here I can say print greeting. Okay, let's run and let's check. Okay, I can just say if let greeting equal to greeting, print greeting. Let's run. See, exactly same things is happening here, but one is with closures and one is without closures. Without closures, I think you are very familiar and very used to it. You can just say name and pass iOS, and it will have a return type. In case of closures, we will have a closure with a return with a parameter type. So in this case, I am saying that it accepts a string and it does not return anything. So it accepts a string, and then I can call my completion, this one, and then I can pass a string here, and whatever I'll pass, it will come here in the greetings. Is this understood?
Abhishek, I have one question.
Sure.
We can declare closures like without func keyword also, right? Am I?
Yes, absolutely. So, okay, so what, okay, very good question, Babu. So, what exactly is a closure? Okay, closure is just a set of block of code. Okay, it does not really need to be a function. It is just a block of code. So, why do we needed a closure concept initially? So let's say there is a function which accepts a block of code and does some functionality. In those cases, we can just pass a block of code. So for that, so it is the function. So for a closure, very good question. For a function, we don't really have to, it has to be a func. It can be any block of code for a closure to work. Also, we don't really need this type alias and all also. This is just for sake of like demonstrating. I wanted to demonstrate type alias. This is why I'm saying. In lot of projects, you will not see type alias at all. But this is again one of the advanced concepts which I wanted to demonstrate. Fine.
Okay.
Fine. Another reason why we really need closures is, let's say in a function, let's say in a networking. Why in networking we used closures? Because whenever you are doing anything in asynchronously, whenever you are using something in a background thread, you will need closures, because once a particular task is completed in the background thread, you want to get back you want to get that notification. You want to know that okay, this is done. So in those cases, we'll use completion handlers. So basically, you want to know that the particular thing is completed. That is why in weather application we used completion. So that was a closure handling with asynchronous code, and this one is a handling in a normal code. And closure is something that we use a lot in our production applications also. Actually, any of these concepts which I am telling you, all of these are extensively used in my current project code. So you really need to learn about these, because any project if you join, but maybe Babu in your next project also if you will go, lot of these things you might see in the code.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Fine. So then closures is done. Next, okay, and just one more thing is protocols. Okay, so from the advanced concepts, I think we are good. I will create a protocol. I will demonstrate why do we need protocols. So let's say, for example, I want to create a Swift file model called student. Okay, now here I'll demonstrate protocols. So for example, I can have, let's create a structure, student, okay, and then I can write some functions, okay, add, let's say, uh, add course, and then I can write a function, okay, let's say course string, and then I can write some implementation func, anything, implementation anyway, doesn't matter. So this is normal implementation, okay. I can write a student and I can write a course. What happens is tomorrow in let's say I am working on this project, and let's say 5 other people are also working on the same project, and then what happens is they will come back and they'll keep adding more and more functions, okay. I don't want that. And so if you remember from day one, there is one thing I've always told, which is single responsibility. Everything should have only one responsibility, correct?
Yes.
Right?
Yes, sir.
It is very important that for everything it should have only one responsibility. Now what happens is, let's say here I am having a student, okay. Now what happens, tomorrow some junior developer comes in or some other team member comes in, and let's say write a function for get all courses, okay. And then I don't want this function here. This function should ideally be there in the course model, not the student model. But let's say another team member or another junior developer does this. So how can I make sure that anything of this does not happen? Okay, in these kind of cases I use protocol. So protocol is very important when I have to define a way of doing things. For example, table views. So we have seen table views. How can I implement a table view? Babu, can you tell me two protocols which we use in table views? Babu?
Yes, Abhishek.
Yeah. Can you tell me the two protocols that we implement in table views?
Data source
Source,
and data.
delegate. Correct. So there are two protocols, UI table view delegate and UI table view data source, without which you cannot implement a table. There is no way to implement a table view without conforming to these two protocols. Correct?
Yes.
So this is the reason why you need protocols, because whenever we have to define a way of doing things, we use protocols. So for example, let's say in this case, Babu, you gave feedback?
Not at Abhishek. I'll give after.
Cool. Maybe you can give today. So add course, okay. So let's say Babu is a student, and let's say, okay, so what every student does, okay. So every student func provides feedback, give feedback, okay. Then again print, okay, let's say this accepts the feedback, okay. And then what else, let's say completes homework, completes assignments, or let's say score, okay. Or fine, let's say only 2 is enough, okay. So what I'm doing is I'm creating a student. Now if I have an implementation like this, tomorrow anyone can come in and anyone can just write any function which they want here, add any functions in students. I don't want that. So what I will do, I will first create a protocol. I will create a protocol. Okay, I think I'm getting some okay. See, this is a template. So it is asking me protocol name and it is asking me the requirements, okay. So I am saying so name I can give anything. I can here, let's give a name, student protocol, and then requirements, I have to tell the requirements. So what are the things that my student protocol should do? So any student which is conforming to the student protocol should have at least one course, okay. So func, okay, now let's remove these two, add register. So register a course. Every student needs to register a course. Okay, and then every student needs to pay the fees. Okay, every student needs to give feedback. Fine, this is fine. Now what I can say, my student can conform to my student protocol. So let's say student, I can say student protocol. Okay, so this means that any student which I create will have these three functions. It is impossible to now create a student structure without these three functions, without implementing these three. So again, I'll get here, I will write fix and see I am getting all these functions. So every student needs to implement these three. This is basically why we use protocols. We are basically defining a default architecture implementation. I am saying that every student must do these three things. Is it making sense?
Yes, yes.
Perfect. Is paid. Babu has not given the feedback, but still I'm writing feedback given.
Post this color.
Okay, so this is the reason. Babu, in your project, lot of protocols I think will already be there, custom protocols,
Yes,
right?
sir.
So you can analyze in your project how exactly they are using, what kind of protocols they are creating. Okay, so this is again something like a really advanced code where you always think from a protocol perspective. Fine.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. I think this is fine. We learned about, okay, what are the things we learned? Let's see here. Okay, protocols, generics, default parameters, variadic functions, closures, anything else? Generics, yeah, I think generics, closures, yeah, fine. Okay, I think this is fine. Just one thing is, I just wanted to have a quick revision also on classes and structures and enums. These three again are advanced, a little bit advanced, and very important. So very important interview question is, what are the important data structures in Swift? There are only three data structures in Swift. One is class, one is structure, one is enum. Okay, so there are three data structures. Data structures as in what are the ways you can store your data. So you can store in these as either as a class or a struct or an enum. Fine. Do you remember class, struct and enum, or do you want me to explain? Rahul?
Sir?
Do you want me to explain class and struct and enum, or do you recall?
Yes, sir. I want to know what is the exact difference between those three.
Yes, I got it. So this is a very important interview question, and not just about interview. Even in implementation, you should ask this question and then you should implement. Okay. So let's say classes, structures, and enums. Fine. Babu, do you want to tell the difference between classes and structures?
Classes are object types.
Okay.
Structures are value types.
Exactly. Very good. So what basically, let me explain. Let me just pull out any enum. Yeah. Let's see, here only we can implement. Protocols. Okay. Okay, so there are three things. Okay, classes, structures, and enums. Okay, so first enums. When Rahul, can you tell me a use case where we will use enums?
Uh, there are multiple different things in a same thing. In that case, we have to use this case situations using
Okay.
enums.
So see, whenever we have a defined set of values, whenever there is something called, whenever there is something a particular thing or a variable can only be of this particular type. Okay, for example, screen type. Okay, so in our case, in our priority application where we have the second screen, either you can add a particular priority or you can edit a particular priority. There are only two things which you can do, either add or edit. So in that case, when we have only given set of possible values, we will use as enums. Okay, so for example this one, or example, for example, we are working on a card game. Okay, so I can also say something called deck. Okay, and then there can be only four types of what do you say, types of card. So either it can be spade, or it can be hearts, or it can be diamond, or it can be club. Okay, so there can be only if you are working on a card game, for example, there are only there are only four types of cards, right? So in these kind of cases, we will create enums when we know that a particular variable can only be of given set of values. Is that understood?
Yes, sir.
Fine. So enums is fine. We have done. And classes and structures. So you have already, you in your projects, you have implemented both classes and structures. The main difference about classes and structures is classes is a reference type and structures is a value type. I will tell you the difference, but there is another difference. So in interview, this, if someone will ask you, there are basically two differences. One, class is the reference type, structures is value type. Second, classes you can have inheritance. In structures you cannot have inheritance. So for example, your table views, if you want to create a custom cell, how are you doing? You are creating a UI table, you are creating a custom cell of, and you are subclassing with a UI table use cell. If you are creating view controller, see, do I have a view controller? Yes, see, I have a view controller. I am subclassing with a UI view controller. Correct? I can go to here, UI view controller. See, this is also a class. I have a UI view controller class, and this is also a class, view controller. So this class is a child of this class. That is inheritance. Okay?
Yes, sir. Fine.
So whenever you will create these kind of view controllers, table views and all, you will create classes. Whenever you will create a model, okay, your student model and something like this, you will create a structure. So always start with a structure. Next, let's say that you want to create let's say computer science student. Computer science student. I'm just giving some random example. In this case, I cannot subclass with student. Okay, I cannot subclass with student. So see, option itself I'm not getting. So I need to create a class here if I need a subclassing. Class. Okay, I think it is not reading it. Let me build. Yeah. So in this case, whenever I need a subclassing, in that case, I'll go with class. Otherwise, so this is why I always say, always start with a structure. And then later, if you need, you can always change it back to class if you need inheritance. Fine. Rahul, Babu, is it fine?
Yes, yes.
Fine. Okay.
That inheritance is fine. Actually, sir, that inheritance fine. That reference type, what I didn't understand.
Okay. Oh, sorry. I missed. So we have two. We have two types. Okay. This is the reference type and value type. This is very like common example. Even in C++, you will see this. So the difference between this is, I will need some diagram to show. Wait. Reference versus value type. I need some diagram. Images. Okay. I think this is better. Can you see this one? This diagram?
Yes, sir.
See, what happens is this value type and reference type is something for storage. Okay, so for example, anything that I'm storing, for example, I'm storing a variable var item equal to 0. Okay, so in this case, or let's create a student var student equal to student, and then I don't think student we have given any property, so that's fine. Okay, now what is student? Student is the value type, correct? So what will happen is if I change a value of student, or if I pass this student variable in a function, in those cases a copy of my student will be sent. So let's go back here. This is the value type. So whenever I am creating a variable name is a and value is 80. Okay.
Yes, sir. Okay.
There is a variable called a and the value is 80, and then whenever I am passing this for any variable, a copy of this is created and put it in a separate folder. So this is, let's say, memory location, it is telling it is 2021. Okay, so whenever I'm creating a equal to 50 as a struct in value type scenario, I will have, it will create b equal to 80. So its value will be same, b equal to 80, and now in a new memory location. So what will happen is, in this case, you can change this value and you can change this value separately. So in these cases, because the memory location is different, this value can be 80 and this value can be 85. Okay, so in the value type, I create a copy of an item and I do the changes. This is why it will have different memory locations. And in reference type, okay, I think I got it. See, in the reference type, there is the same memory location. So if I'm changing 30 to 35, both A and B will be impacted because both A and B are referring to the same memory location. So this is the difference between value type and reference type. In value type, there will be two different locations. And in reference type, there will be only one location, 2051. 2051 is just some default value. So what basically it means is, in in this case, I am creating a variable new employee, and then I am saying a dot age is 26. Okay, so now in this case, because it is the reference type, any changes will reflect, and if it is a value type, then I can store two different values. So this is a concept which is coming from C programming language. This is nothing related to Swift or iOS. This is a very common like way of programming in value type and reference type. Fine, Rahul?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So let's remove this. Okay. Fine. So this is fine, good enough. Advanced Swift concepts we have covered today. I will send you this project. Let me close the